I'm Marina Vitage with Wine Enthusiast TV, and we're here today at Premier Napa Valley, the annual barrel tasting and auction showcasing more than 200 of Napa Valley's finest producers presenting their current vintage.
Premier Napa Valley is now in its 17th year, and it is our special time to taste and hopefully bid on some very unique, very special wines.
This is an opportunity for all of us that haven't seen each other for some time across the country, within the valley, to get together, to exchange stories, to taste wine.
It's really our Oscars because it's like our industry celebrating itself. There's always a lot of excitement around that, a lot of, you can just feel the energy in the air here. The room is packed.
The event is a great opportunity for people to taste wines from a lot of different producers. You certainly get to see a variation between winery styles and get the opportunity to meet the winemakers and get the experience of what the vintage was like for them.
All of us as winemakers, we have a job to make wines pretty consistent throughout the year, but coming to this one, you taste people's unusual blends, and that's what's a lot of the fun.
They can make something that they otherwise don't produce in only 60 bottles, 120 bottles, or 240 bottles of wine. That's it.
Each of the wineries has made a special barrel, and the barrels are then auctioned off for charity. And that money, by and large, goes to the community that works in the fields and their families for health care and child care and housing. The 2011 weather in general, I would say, shocked California. It was downright frigid.
So we didn't see sugar levels start to develop and mature flavors come up in the wines until really late in the growing season.
Which for us was painful because we only got about a ton an acre off of this vineyard, so the quantities are tiny, and the selection in the winery was intense.
And a lot of people are kind of saying, well, we're not really sure if those wines are going to be what people are used to from Napa.
Anytime the circumstances are less than ideal, that's when you really get to shine and show what you can really do.
Some of the wines are soft because 11 was a tough finish, but they still have really expressive fruits.
More balanced, a little lower in alcohol and more tannic.
Less of that kind of bombastic, juicy, over-the-top fruit flavors.
Wines like Spotswood and other estates are going to show that not only are they really interesting wines, they're very site-specific and they're very Napa.
I think some of these established houses are really proving that in a troublesome vintage like 2011, people who make good work made killer wines. If some consumers shy away from the vintage, some savvy, smart buyers are going to be able to maybe get some killer wines that they wouldn't have had access to.
It's definitely, I think, one for the collectors as opposed to for immediate drinking.
10, 12, 15, maybe even 20 years, which doesn't mean you can't drink them now. But if you do drink them now, you certainly want to give them a good decanting. And these are wines that will get better in the glass as they sit around and warm up and air.
We wanted to mix it up and experiment actually with kind of a reserve style of Sauvignon Blanc in comparison to our estate wine that we typically produce. So what we did is we took a single stainless steel barrel and did a fermentation and made a much more rich style with a lot of minerality. With all these red wines, it's nice to have a white wine to liven things up, cleanse your palate a bit.
Some of the wineries that are using alternative varieties, doing wines based on Cabernet Franc or Malbec or Pinot Noir, it definitely lends a little bit of perspective to what the Valley really has to offer aside for just Cabernet.
I want to see that wow moment when they taste the wine. I mean, that's what we get off on, is that we've spent so much time with this wine and that we're invested in it emotionally. We want that emotional investment to then flow to the person who's drinking it and to have that same kind of response.